Hello everyone, we're going to start with conference number 12, return and recurrence. So first of all, we're going to explain return. We are a reflect of what our life is. If we don't change, if we don't modify our circumstances, if we don't work in our psyche, we are going to keep repeating once and over again the same mistakes. That, as you can see in the image, is only the possibility of coming back to the beginning of one's life to repeat the same comedies, dramas, and tragedies that we have lived before. We already know from past conferences that we have 108 successive existences as human beings, which means that we have an intellectual brain that allows us the possibility to meditate, to make conscious our inner darkness, to explore the 97% of bottled up conscious, and to fulfill our being, to self-realize our being in one human existence, though we don't want to. By the force of the instinct of our ego, of our seminal envelope, we keep spinning in the wheel of samsara. We already saw the wheel of samsara in the conference of evolution, involution, and revolution. So the return is just spinning around once and over again, mechanically in the wheel of samsara. How to escape from that mechanical process? We need to stop making conscious what we have inside. We need to explore our inner world and liberate that 97% of bottled up conscious. The ego is a force that will submit us, our conscious will, just to repeat and to add weight to the psychological aggregates, add molecular and atomic weight with the different successive existence. We need to stop that by transcending the force of the return. So how can we start doing it? We need to get to the bottom of it. We need to get to the causes of the ego. Why do we do what we do? Meditating is exploring the causes and the consequences of our ego. The seed needs to die in order for the plant to be born, which means that we need, if we want to eliminate anger, for example, we need to explore the different details of anger. Why do we do that? When we do that, why do we yell at people? Why do we insult? Why do we want to discuss? Why do we want to get revenge in the different escenes of our life, and eliminating that, asking our Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego that wants to fight, for example, and that way our seed, that is the ego, is going to be disintegrated, and the plant, that is our virtues, are going to be born. So let's talk about recurrences. If the return is just projecting our life with the different escenes in the surface of a new life, the different escenes in that life is what is recurrence. The force of recurrence is repeating the same actions of our egos that have been already repeating in the past existences. We think that everything is brand new, that everything is so casual, but no, we have already our destiny traced by the force of our ego. If we identify the actors that are making these movies manifest in our life, well, the movie cannot be played as it was before. It is going to modify. We are going to be able to change our destiny, eliminating the actors that make these scenes manifest. So here we see an example. We are going to see an example of a recurrence. For example, we had a couple that met each other. They discussed, they had an argue, the ego of anger was manifesting in that moment. So the ego of alcoholism then entered to evade the discussion and forget about it. So I'm going to escape the situation by feeding the ego of alcoholism. And then, well, the recurrence was that the person had an accident. So, well, what happened if we eliminated one actor from this scene? Well, let's see here. Here we have the couple, here we have the discussion, the anger, the different insults, etc. But, for example, let's suppose that these persons meditated the ego of alcoholism. They meditated why they did it, why they forced themselves to escape from the situation, recurring to this liquor, and they eliminated that actor. So immediately the scene is going to change. For example, that person eliminated the ego that wanted to drink to escape the situation, so immediately the virtue of knowing how to fix the situation, of facing the situation, appeared, and the scene was solved. And, well, the recurrence is that the accident is no longer going to be presented, and the person is not going to die at that point of the existence. So we can change our destiny, changing the egos or the actors that are manifesting in each of the different scenes of our life. That is changing the recurrence that we have. So here we have another example, and that also can explain us how does a recurrence happen. Let's suppose that you have the ego of competition, of pride, of showing yourself in front of the boss, thinking you're the best in the world of business, and by the force of causality, you encounter someone that is exactly like you and that wants to show himself like the most successful person, that wants to compete, that wants to be proud, that wants to show himself, and you think that is really casual, that you just encountered that person. But no, there is a force called the telepathy that you are attracting to your life what you have inside. If I have, for example, the ego of vanity, I'm going to attract someone that is exactly like me in order for the recurrence to be manifested. And this mechanical force of telepathy is going to attract to my life what I have inside in order for the ego to be shown. How can I make an ego conscious? Well, the recurrence is going to show me what I have inside, putting in front of me a person that is exactly like me in order for me to put myself in his shoes, to know that I don't need to criticize that person because I am exactly like he is. So the recurrence can be transcended just analyzing why I am the way that I behave, why I am like the person that I criticize, putting myself in the shoes of that person. That way, if I dissolve the ego of competition, I'm going to transcend that. By the force of personality, we keep attracting the same people to our life. We have a lot of compromises. The personality is going to make everything so easy for ego. It's going to let the egos manifest through us. For example, if I have the ego of alcoholism, personality is going to just put me in the scene of encountering people that have the same ego, the same behavior. If I have the ego of vanity, of showing myself in front of people, of taking myself photographs in order to be seen, the ego of exhibition, well, I'm going to attract people exactly like me. If I have the ego of pride, of showing myself in front of everyone else, or if I have the personality of just liking video games, I'm going to attract people that have the same psychological flaws that I have inside in order to see myself, because that is the law of the mirror. So just you think that you are free from your ego, but you're just a puppet, and the egos are going to manifest through you by the force of your personality. Your personality is going to be just a magnetic force, is going to be a vehicle, electromagnetic vehicle, through which the egos are going to enter, and the recurrence are going to be mechanically processed. We think we are independent, we think we are free, though we are nothing but the puppets of our egos, and they have different commitments, which means that they have compromises. If I, at the age of 25, got drunk in a party, for example, well, in this existence is going to repeat. That is the law of recurrence. At the age of 25, I'm going to be drunk at a party again, unless I transform the ego of alcoholism and eliminate it from my psyche. This is the tool that will allow me to transcend the law of recurrence and the law of return. That is the three factors of the revolution of conscience. First of all, psychological death. Why? Because we need to make conscious our ego. If we don't see the different actors that are intervening in the different scenes of our life, we are going to mechanically fulfill the commitments of our ego. If we had the commitment of fighting to death with a person at the age of 30, we are going to do it by the law of recurrence, unless we eliminate the ego of the discussion, of fighting, of the aggression and violence. Begging to our Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of violence. So that way the recurrence is no longer going to be manifesting in my life at the age of 30, and I am going to transcend that recurrence. So as I liberate that essence of that ego, for example, of the discussion and fighting to death with a person, that essence is going to be liberated. That means that I am going to free that fire of will and of being conscious of myself, and I am going to have the possibility of condensing that fire by the force of the spiritual birth, which means working with the Kundalini with a stable couple of my opposite sex, and I'm going to fix that essence in my spinal cord. That will make us awaken and increase our percentage of conscious. And the sacrifice for humanity is going to just give me the love and the merits of the heart and the dharma that I need in order to transcend the different recurrences. So the three factors of the revolution of the conscience are really, well, the way of escaping the different returns, the different recurrences and compromises of our ego in this existence. Well, we need to take into account that, first of all, we need to explore our inner world. We need to be aware that it's not so casual that things happen to us. Everything is already traced. You already have a destiny that is marked by the force of ego, but you can escape that. And you can also escape the possibility of returning and returning and returning that has happened through different centuries. You can free your essence and you can unite with your divine father and mother, fulfilling your being, awakening the 100% of conscious, and stop returning in the wheel of samsara. You can achieve it in one human existence if you want to, by working in the 3 factors. Well, this is the conference. If you have any questions, any suggestions, I'll be willing to hear you. Thank you. Bye.